All right. Let's see here. Hello, everybody. Let me pull this down here so it doesn't look like I'm looking up there. Okay. All right. Hello, Cardo. Hello, Javier. Hello, Raimo. Nice to see all of you guys. We've got a question already starting. And Gabriel, nice to see you, Gabriel. Um, Cardo says, "Hi Eddie, how are you? It seems like this year I won't be able to take my trumpet along and practice during vacation. Any tips to get back quickly on in shape after 2 weeks off the trumpet?" To me, in my opinion, 2 weeks off, you don't have to do anything. Now, I will, because I can't assume that everybody that comes to the Q and A is doing my stuff, right? If you don't know about the uh, physical trumpet pyramid, then that would then have to be my recommendation, is to learn about the physical trumpet pyramid. There is a video. Look up on YouTube Eddie Lewis Physical Trumpet Pyramid, and it will tell you all about it. And the pyramid was something I invented because I knew that I knew I was wrong in what I knew, but I just knew that I was going to go into the army and have to go to boot camp. And I was terrified that coming out of boot camp, I wouldn't remember most of the stuff that I had fixed in my playing. And so this idea that the whole physical trumpet pyramid is all about rebuilding. The way it works on a daily basis is that we are constantly every morning rebuilding our trumpet playing over again. So this is, you guys have heard me talk about the accumulative method, the art of accumulative practice. You guys have heard me talk about that. I don't think that method, that philosophy of accumulative practice would even be possible for trumpet players if it wasn't for this daily rebuilding. Because what does it matter if you rebuild daily anyway? What does it matter if it's one day that you take off, 2 days, 5 days, 20 days, 3 years? It doesn't matter. You just use that same order to come back. So in my opinion, let me turn that off. That's weird. In my opinion, and okay, just not my opinion. This is my practice too, and I've got students that do this very well. It doesn't matter how much time you take off. You should not in 2 weeks lose chops. Let me say that outright. If you lost anything, you didn't have it. Okay, and I know this is a controversial topic because there are so many trumpet players that believe the trumpet religion that says thou shalt practice every day. My practice right now is hot and cold because I have so much other stuff going on. I just went through a 2-week period where my practice was very, very little. I think I practiced 2 or 3 times in 2 weeks. Now I do try to practice more than that, mainly because the number one motivating issue with me practicing is I feel like a hypocrite if I'm not practicing and I'm telling my students to practice. I never said it's okay to not practice. What I said was that it's okay to take time off and that nothing should happen. Here's the thing though, is problems that you get when you come back from a vacation are largely, they fall in the category of self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe that you're going to have trouble coming back, then it's going to be true. But if you understand And if you practice, the more you start to practice according to the stuff that I teach, right? Doing the physical trumpet pyramid, um, resting once a week anyway. If you take at least one day off a week, it's not such a weird thing to take 2 weeks off later because you're practicing every week, not practicing. I know that sounds weird. It reminds me, whenever we talk about not practicing, I love and I don't remember who this story was about, and I don't remember who told me the story. It was somebody online, and I might be getting it wrong because I heard it in the 90s, but somebody said that some famous trumpet player was playing drunk and playing drunk well. He was always drunk and he was playing well. And somebody said, "Man, you play so well, but you're drunk. How do you do that?" And the guy says, "Oh, that's easy. I practice drunk." And I always tell that story because whatever it is that whatever condition that you're living with in your music, living with that in the context of your practice has to happen for it to not be. So the idea here is that if you don't ever drink when you're practicing, you get on a gig, you're not going to play very well. Okay, I'm not condoning drinking, by the way. I don't drink myself, and I don't encourage people to drink. By the way, there's a storm, and if I just disappear suddenly, it's the storm. I would try to get back, but I'm not sure how that works. Anyway, so the point I'm making is, just like with drinking, let's say here's something I'm dealing with now because I'm getting healthier and healthier and healthier, right? Um, and it's because I've learned so much about eating, but my chops are different now. And the routine is I have to live with that difference to and it's not causing any problems except for one that I'll have to, when I figure out what that is, I'll share it with you. Um, but yes, I have a responsibility to spend time with this new feel. My because I don't have as much body fat now, so there's not as much body fat in my chops. And yes, that's going to change the way I play. So and the idea is that you spend time with that. And the same thing is true with spending time not practicing. You actually have to practice not practicing so that when you do have to take time off, it's not a big deal. Take 2 days off, take 3 days off. To tell you the truth, I don't believe in, if you're going on a family vacation, I don't believe in practicing on the family vacation. I believe family comes first. And that if you are the kind of musician that can't go on family vacation without taking your horn, you are missing out on the things that make you a better player. That's my my firm belief. When you have to disrupt your family vacation, you are missing out on things that make your life better, make your trumpet playing better, make your music better. And so I actually don't, when I travel, I don't practice. There's very few times that I ever pick up my horn when I'm traveling. And so, like, for example, I've been to South Africa, I want to say 5 times. That might not, yeah, I think it's 5 times. And we go for a month. The last 3 times that we went for a month. And I did not practice the whole time I was there. I did play my horn a few times. Like, for example, um, and you know what? I have to take back what I just said. My last trip to South Africa, I played in the jazz festival down there. And something happened to my chops on the plane. They got all dehydrated and chapped and stuff like that. And I had to spend some practice time because the best thing for your chops if you've got chapped lips, dehydrated leather lips, is to spend time playing the horn. So that is the one exception that I'm talking about when I travel. I said I don't practice when I travel. I practiced on that trip mainly because my chops were all dried out, and if I didn't do that, I would not have been able to play the gig. It was a very nice gig, by the way. I enjoyed that. It's like the highlight of the last 10 years of my career. I played in Africa Makize's big band, and that was an absolute pleasure. Anyway, I'm sorry to spend so much time on that, but I did want to make that clear because this is one of the more controversial things that I talk about. So I think the best way to come back is with the physical trumpet pyramid. Don't do anything else. Go straight to air exercise. After exercise, do the lip buzz. And the other thing I would say besides that is just go slow. Don't rush into anything. Okay, Javier. Javier says, "Hello, Eddie. I hope you are doing fine." Yes, I am. Thank you. Hello, online trumpet player friends. What I've never seen your face. Yeah, that's true. I hope you are all doing fine. And there's Raimo and Gabriel. Hello, Eddie and friends. Now, Javier says, I've exchanged a mouthpiece that I didn't use with another trumpet player. He gave me his 3C. All my mouthpieces are 1C. This new mouthpiece is so comfortable and easy to play. What should I do? Well, I think the way I look at comfort today is, to me, is what determines the rim size. If it's comfortable for you, that means 3C is the appropriate rim size for you. And you would want to find from this point forward, well, you want to do the homework, right? Find out what the inside diameter of a 3C is. Then when you start looking at other mouthpieces, other brands, now if you like the 3C, then stick with the 3C. You stay with that. I'm just saying the next step after that, if you want to explore other mouthpieces, the 3C, you find out what the inside diameter is, and you find other mouthpieces that match that. I hope that makes sense. So that's what I recommend. Now, Gabriel says, sorry, how do we practice micro rests during a performance? Rest for a second, all the embouchure muscles, or what? Yes. I actually have a video about this. I call it The Other Side of Endurance. It was originally going to be an article. And one of the things I talk about is taking the horn off of your lips. Not like this, right? We don't want to make it obvious to the people in the audience, okay? We just want to pull it off the lips. And I'm even doing a little bit too much now. It really could be as little as this much. And that way band directors don't get angry at you for moving the horn and stuff like that. But that's what I do, even if it's just, I just did a video. I'll be posting it, I hope, tomorrow if I have time to make the video. I just made a recording of me playing a rubato style recording of I Get Along Without You Very Well, right? I did it on my flugelhorn. And you'll see in there that every once in a while I'll take the horn off my lips. I played the wrong note. So even there, I just pulled it off just a tiny bit. And yes, I did on purpose play it in a lower key. But anyway, the point is that when you take it off, it does let the blood flow through, and when the blood flows through, the muscle tissues get recharged. So it helps your endurance to take the horn off of your lips. Okay, so that's what I do. Hello, Ari. I don't have a normal embouchure for trumpet. When I place my lips on a mouthpiece, I can hit a little higher than the high C, and I'm in high school. Should I try to change it? You know, I can't tell you that without hearing what you're doing. Okay? I am not one of those people who believes everybody should change if you don't have a textbook embouchure. I don't have a textbook embouchure. If you look in my videos, my embouchure is, see that line? That's the edge of my mouthpiece, not over here. And one way I demonstrate this is to show people there's 2 fingers distance between the mouthpiece on this side and not even 1 finger on this side. I'm playing so far over to the side that the horn has to be at an angle. That's why anytime you see me with the microphone, the trumpet is always on the left side of the microphone, because you're right. Because I can't play like this. I would have to turn my head all the way over here to be able to play. Look at how much lift there is on that side. Okay? So, but to tell you if your mouthpiece placement is in a good spot or a bad spot, I would have to actually see and hear you play. So I am sorry that I can't give you a better answer than that. But if anyone does answer that question, like if they say, is your mouthpiece in the red and stuff like that, that's not how this works. There are times when it's in the red and we need to do something about it, but I have to see and hear what's going on. It sometimes gives me a cut on my upper lip. Yeah, even that I would have to know, is it a cut on the inside or the cut on the outside? But even that, I would be very hesitant to say anything without seeing it and hearing it. So if you want, you can make a video and send me a link, or put it on Google Map, Google Docs or something, and send me a link and I can check it out for you. All right, Jane Eyre. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I apologize for that. Says, hello, Mr. Luce. Well, hello. I've watched your video where it shows the grading process that happens during Allstate. Does it still stand the same? Yes, sir. That's how it works. It's still that way. And that's why, if you watch that video, you know what I recommend for everybody is to favor general over specific. You have to be successful in Allstate, you have to favor general over specific. And so the general things would be at the top for me is expression. I think expression is one of the most important things. And then your tone quality is one of the most important things. Stuff like vibrato and phrasing and all of that general stuff is more important in these auditions because of the way they're set up than whether or not you make a mistake. The only time the mistakes are an issue are when you make a bunch of them. If you make a bunch of mistakes, now it becomes general. Anyway, I think that's one of my better videos, in my opinion. Cardo says, beautiful philosophy about prioritization of family. Well, good. I'm glad you liked that. Okay, Johnny Berglund says, hi, subject today, practice. Yes, practice, practice. That's how you get to Carnegie Hall. Gabriel says, Eddie, is it true that a B cup was for B flat trumpet and C cup was for C trumpets? That's what I was told. I'm not going to say it was true or not. That's the lore, the trumpet lore that I was told. But I can't say yes or no to that with authority. All right, Karen. Hello, Karen. Oh, I skipped James. Hello, James. Hi, Eddie. What is the next book in the Trumpet Chop series after Pro, and where can I find it? You can find it on my hard drive because I'm not finished writing it yet. I apologize for that. It's taking me forever to write these last few books. Everything is written out except for the half of the triple tongue, and then I have to write out the text. It's been sitting on my hard drive for over a year now. I apologize to everyone who's that far and needs the book, but that's where we're at right now. The alternative now is to go to the daily routines book and do. Oh, in that we didn't give it names, so it's just Group 6. The Group 6, the trumpet master routine is supposed to replace Group 6 in the daily routines book. You want to change the order. If you want it to be the same, you have to, because I have the scales at the end of the routine in that book. It wasn't until later that I started putting the scales before the lip slurs. So you might want to, if you do the daily routines book, you want to change that around so that it matches. And you can add, another thing that's missing is lip bends. You can add lip bends to the notes that are in the long tones. And there also are not any pedal tones, but you can take the pedal tones from the pro level and do them in that book. Anyway, that's the long answer to your question. That book doesn't exist yet. It's not finished. Karen, okay, now we're at Karen. Karen says, hi, Eddie. My band concert was canceled for tomorrow night due to the extreme heat. More time to practice other stuff. Wish my strength was more consistent. Well, the strength will get there. It really will. And you from what I can tell, you're already getting progress in that direction. So it just takes time. You just have to keep pushing. That sounds like a contradiction. When I talk about you don't have to practice every day, and then I say if you want to make progress physically, you have to practice more. And so the way I see that is you benefit from practicing more, and you also benefit from practicing less. You have to mix those up to get strength. So that's why it sounds like a contradiction, because I do believe in pushing. In fact, I probably push more than what most of the guys that push think is safe. I push to extreme fatigue on a semi-regular basis, but then I also contrast that with days that I'm not pushing at all, that I do that range limiting stuff. All right, Johnny says, I play trumpet in winter days and summer. Oh, I play trumpet in winter days. In summer, I play golf, so my chops reset in summer. I just play my second recordings on YouTube. No live practice. I see. I have a lot of I know there are a lot of people that do that, and I don't have a problem with that. We're not I think that's, um if you're doing something for the joy of it, then that's something that I think when you're doing it for joy, then you have the freedom to do it the way you want to do it. Now, when people take lessons with me and they want to do something for joy, what I'm trying to do with them is to increase their joy. Because if you can do like say Karen wants more strength. Well, with more strength, you do have the capacity to experience more joy on the trumpet. You see what I'm saying? And there are certain things that come into play. But if and I have students like this, right? All they want to do is have fun playing the trumpet with the stuff that they've already got. And with those students, if they run out of steam, they just run out of steam. They don't care. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think that's why those students come to me, because I don't give them a guilt trip for not having greater ambitions as trumpet players. So that's kind of a weird thing to be known for, but it's true. People can take lessons with me and not ever get a guilt trip, not ever be told, hey, you're not trying hard enough or anything like that. Um, Now, the flip side, I remember I had a student, a Russian guy, that lived in Houston for a few years, and he came and took lessons, and he told me, he says, I want you to be hard on me. So I gave him what he wanted. And, I can do that. I come from an academic background. I know how to say, you know what, that sucks, that sucks, do this better. I know how to do that. And that's, if someone wants that, then I give them that. I don't think it's beneficial to be like that. I don't think it's as beneficial. Anyway, Gabriel says, Eddie, about fatigue. Shall I stop practicing when my lips when I feel my lips burning, or as soon as I hear my sound is changing? I stop and repeat to make stronger. Is that right? So I believe that depends on what day, if because I know you know about the one range book, right? Um, on the hypothetical Tuesday in the one range approach, we don't stop at all. The only thing that makes us stop is if you're gonna somehow damage the chops. So that's what I was saying earlier. The way I practice, I probably push much farther into the fatigue than what most normal trumpet players think is healthy. But I only do that once a week, at the most, once a week. Sometimes I do maybe once a month like that, depending on my schedule. So if you're on a day like that, you push and you push and you keep going and you keep going. And that's the proverbial Tuesday in that schedule. It doesn't have to actually be your Tuesday. You can shift the schedule around. Um, but that hypothetical Tuesday is the day that I will push through like that. Every other day, I will do what you're saying. When you hear the sound has changed, it's time to stop. Not when you get burning. When the sound changes, it's over. You stop. You can come back later, but that session has to stop on those other days. Johnny says, okay, I'm an amateur in music, play to have fun. Last winter playing went very nice, if I say it myself. That's very good. That's what this is about. Is amateur means that you love it. You do it for the love of it. Um, so yeah. Cardo says, I've heard that Clifford Brown used to play on a mouthpiece the size of a 10.5C. How is that possible with such huge lips he had? Well, that's what I'm telling you. The the textbook idea of what a mouthpiece is not appropriate for like 75% of all the trumpet players. Textbook is not appropriate. They want you to have it 2/3, 1/3. They want you to have it centered, um, and stuff like that. And you know it. So how is it possible? I have a book. Sometimes I'll grab the book to show you. I think I better just stop doing that. It doesn't help you guys anyway. I have a book, a biography about Clifford Brown, and there's a quote on it where he talks about how the swelling that I used to get, that I got away from when I changed my ways, that's the swelling that he strives for. And if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't a 10.5C, it was a 10.5C EW, if I'm not mistaken. A 10.5. Now, remember, I don't speak in authority on subjects like this. Um, I can only share with you what my recollections and my thoughts are. So I think he was playing a CEW. EW stands for extra wide, and that makes sense to me. If he was manipulating the swelling in his lip to get the sound that he got, the EW would help with that manipulation. It would also help stabilize the swelling. It will also give him a lot of endurance too. Johnny says my public is on YouTube and Facebook. Well, very good. What's the name of your horn? That's from Johnny also. I play on a Bach 72 and a Pudgy. I think he calls it the M or something like that now. A Pudgy Mod. That's what it is. Pudgy Mod. Johnny says Chet Baker didn't practice so much. He is my leading star in jazz. Okay, that's interesting. Javier says, I was set with my 1C mouthpiece and this new 3C suddenly appears and it rocks my world. Well, good. Hope that's not an analogy for my future wife. Oh, yeah. You know what? When it comes to that kind of stuff, um, yeah, I well, I guess I shouldn't even go in that direction. Let me just keep my mouth shut. Um, anyway, Gabriel says, Eddie, we said serious composer don't write any dynamic signs. So when practicing an etude, can I change my staccato or I need to start and finish with the same staccato? Okay, so I didn't say serious composers. I said composers in the Renaissance and Baroque didn't use dynamics. So Palestrina, Vivaldi, Bach, uh, all of those, it wasn't until the classical era, I think, that they started using dynamics. So, does that make sense? So now, if you're playing an etude, I think it depends. I have a lot of students that have to play an etude because it's for a competition. Now, if you play something differently in a competition, you better be able to sell it because chances are the judges aren't going to like it. But if you're first of all, if you're practicing it for your own purposes, that you just like the etude and you want to learn it, then you do whatever you want with it, whether the composer wrote dynamics or not. You do whatever you want. So, like for example, if you're talking about the um, herring etudes, um, if it's for a contest, you have to do what it says. You know, he was a 20th century composer, even though his stuff is very conservative. He was a 20th century composer, and um, those dynamics would have been for an educational purpose. And I would go as far as to say that if he's got dynamics in there, you should play the dynamics that it says for educational purposes, if that's why you're doing the etude. If you're doing it to learn, then you should do everything that's in there, because it takes control to do that. But if you're doing it because you like it and you would like to record it, there's a lot of stuff that when I record it, I do it differently because I like the way it sounds this way. And I don't even care that the composer meant this or the composer meant that. Remember I said last week, oh, maybe that's what you were talking about, is what I said last week, which is not quite what you're saying here, serious. So what I said last week is that the dynamics are not part of the music unless it's part of the music, right? I probably said it better last week. The example I gave last week was the Shostakovich symphony, right? Those dynamics are actually part of the orchestra, the composition. Another one that we could say that way is the Surprise Symphony. I think that's Haydn. The surprise is exaggerated by the dynamics. So you would do the dynamics in that context. So I guess maybe I misspoke last time. Now that we're talking about it, I remember what I said last week. But a lot of music, and this is not just serious or unserious, it's just what was the intention of the musician. A lot of music, the dynamics were just a second afterthought, a second thought. I think afterthought is a better word. It's secondary, I think, is what I was looking at. So so now in terms of changing staccato, if you are on the expressive side, you're not going to do it for a contest. You're doing it for your own pleasure. You like the way it sounds with changed staccatos. Then I would strongly recommend doing it the way you like it. Once again, this is something that sets me apart from other teachers. Not everybody. I'm sure there's people that do that. There are some people that teach the way I'm talking about now. But this whole thing where they say honor the wishes of the composer, I think that's just a bogus. That's just the way. What they really mean when they say that is to do what the teacher tells you to. Don't ask questions. Just shut up and do what they say. Right? That's really what that is. That's just them saying, you know what? I know this better than you. Shut your mouth and just do it the way I said. That's what that is. When we look into what music really, really is, the essence of what music really is, um, it's expression. And it's not expression of the composer, it's your expression. What the composer does will be meaningless if you do not express yourself through the music. And sometimes that expression requires you to do something different from what's written. You know, I have a piece. It's a piece I wrote. Sometimes Leonard Brandt gets on here, right? My friend from South Africa. It's a piece I wrote for him, and one of the first other people to record it jazzed it up a little bit. And he said, "Is that okay?" I said, "Yeah, that's okay, man. You're being expressive. You're doing your thing. I'm not going to be offended by that." Johnny says, "I don't believe in Charlie." I don't know what that is. Charlie. Up and down. Johnny says, "Never heard of that." Okay. James says, "Are you familiar with a Shruti box?" No, never heard of it. If so, do you think it helps improve intonation and relative pitch? I have no clue what that is. Let me put that. Oh, I don't have no clue what that is. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I wouldn't be able to answer that because I have no clue what it is. Sorry about that. Johnny says, interesting what you say just now. Okay. Javier says, "How do you prepare for recording a jazz record trumpet wise?" How do I so you know what I like to do with my recordings is I think regardless of whether you promote a theme, there should be a theme. Does that make sense? Um, I think with you have to have a theme. One of my cats is meowing real loud. You have to have a theme to give the project uh, an identity, right? Now, and you know what else I'll say in that context is the worst thing to do in a album or any other kind of recording or performance or concert or anything like that. The worst thing you can do is have the theme that you're going to show everybody how good you are. Now that's and I had this conversation with a student yesterday. Um, there are personalities out there. I have some friends that are like this, where they are show off type persons. But that's not exactly the same thing as what I'm talking about, right? So I'm not saying thou shalt not show off. There are show offy type things that people do, like playing stuff like Fly to the Bumblebee. Because people go, ooh, Fly to the Bumblebee. And if you can play it left handed, people, ooh, right? That's entertainment. I have some friends that are extremely good at that kind of performance. And if you're going to have so the kind of thing I'm talking about that you shouldn't go in there and to show everybody how good you are is by um, playing your hardest stuff and playing fast and playing high and playing impressive things so that people will think you're wonderful. That doesn't work. That doesn't work as a theme as a focus for a project, and it doesn't matter what kind of project it is. That's a terrible way to approach any kind of project. So the first thing I do is I consider, like that gig that I did with my uncle that you said that you like, not that gig, that recording I did, the Rivers of Life. The my my uncle, the one playing piano, is a pastor. I think he's a reverend or a pastor or something like that. Um, and I wanted what we did to be all connected to the to our faith as Christians. So even though it's a jazz album And even though it's got some of my original stuff, and even though there's free improvisation on it. By the way, it was his. Here's some trivia for that album. It was my uncle's very first time doing free improvisation with a band, and he said he was terrified. He said he was terrified. So, but it came out very nice, didn't it? So, but yes, we had that theme before we even put that session together. So that's the number one thing. And then and once you have a theme, picking the tunes becomes secondary. You the way you pick your tunes is by what theme you decided you wanted to have. Now, I think some people do it backwards, right? They take what they've got, they do the recording, and then they take a step back and look and say, what theme can we pull out of that? And I don't think that's as genuine. I'm sure people are successful with it, but I don't think that's as genuine. I don't think that touches people. Now, I don't mind saying that this idea of having themes is influenced by two uh, aspects of my education. One was all of these um, Chick Corea albums. The way I saw Chick Corea because I was exposed to Chick Corea when I was in college, right? I saw that as basically jazz symphonies. And there are other people that have done similar things, right? But Chick Corea would have, like, one of my favorites is the Leprechaun. I forgot what it's called, something Leprechaun. My Spanish Heart is another one of my favorites. Um, oh, and you hear this theme throughout the entire album. He stays to the theme. I think that's valuable. And like I said, to me, the album is sort of like our version as jazz players of a symphony. Now, you might look at some of my albums and say, well, that doesn't fit what you're saying. Well, because those albums that have 50 tunes on them are meant to be demonstration albums for my compositions. They're not albums that are there to show off how well I play. They're not albums that are there to entertain people. Those are albums that I wanted to have on, you know, you know, all of the publishing companies put out albums that have their music on them. That's what those are. But my um, Not So Distant Past album, my Vintage Trumpet Treasures album, the the one that you're talking about, those are all themed. So the Rivers of Life is a themed album. I'm trying to do, and probably not nearly as well as Chick Corea did, but I'm trying to do what Chick Corea did with putting an image on the album that's consistent with the tunes. I hope that makes sense. Johnny says, if I play My Funny Valentine my my way, what is it? Well, I can't say that. You have to tell me what it is. That's Javier says it would be your funny Valentine. There you go. That's the answer. You do it however you think it sounds best. I tell my students on the jazz side and on the composition side, I tell them it's not finished until you like it. Once you say, yes, this is how I want it to be, that's when it's done. That's how you know if you're doing it your way. You play it and you like it. Now, some people can't do that. Some people can only hear the way other people did it. Well, then that's how you do it. John, hello, John Fass. It's a type of drone. Okay, you're talking about the Strudybox. Um, Drones, I think, if that's the case, then the drone, I do think drones help you play in tune. I don't use them, um, but I do think they're helpful. Cardo says, Eddie, I really admire the fact that even having such a fantastic range as you have, you never seem to be obsessed with it. Well, thank you. I think that's like the best compliment. Not okay. I won't say the best compliment. That's a great compliment. There's times when I have to use it, uh, and then there's times when it seems appropriate, like in the middle of an improv. I will never forget my first uh, E above super C. I guess you would call that super E. My very first super E in public. I was a guest soloist with the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts, and we were playing a composition that I wrote that I called um, "Take It or Leave It" or something like that. Um, and it's in the key of A. That's an A blues with Coltrane changes mixed up inside of it. And in the middle of my solo, I went up and found myself. This is in the mid '90s, right? I found myself hitting the E above super C. It was nice, big, fat, and clean. So I said, "Hey, let's hold on to that for a while." So I think I made that note about 8, 9, 10 beats long. And then I come back down and go into the low register. You're right. I'm not obsessed with it. I have it to use as a tool when I think it's appropriate. I do think, I'm not going to mention names, and maybe I shouldn't even mention the context. But sometimes I play with a trumpet player that plays stuff up an octave when it's not appropriate. Um, I'm I don't care. But if the guy was my student, I would tell him, "Hey, you know what? This is not appropriate." I would say, you would be a better trumpet player if you didn't do that. It would help your trumpet playing. Because what happens when you just play it inappropriately like that, it usually means that you don't understand the music. And if you understand the music, that makes you a better trumpet player. I hope that makes sense. Um, and I don't mean to be, I'm not judgmental. I'm just saying it happens. There are people out there that's how they operate. Is they do it because they can do it, but that's not music. Johnny says, I snow in on Chet Baker in the 50th. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're saying on that one. Well, 86, congratulations, still playing your horn at 86. I have students all the time asking me how long can I keep playing, and I tell them there's no end to playing. It's not an age thing; it's a health thing. There are health issues that will prevent you from playing, but it's not age. I've had students in the 90s that played well. I've had friends, great, wonderful trumpet playing friends that played into their 90s. Javier says, "Yeah, Rivers of Life is great. It sounds so natural and well executed." Thank you. I'm glad you like it. You are right. He says, Chick Corea almost make a movie with music. That's right. It makes your imagination expand. Yep. Johnny says, spelling is not my strong side. That's all right. No problem there. Javier says, in fact, when I listen, Rivers of Life had a similar sensation when I listened to Return Forever. Okay, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. We did not rehearse for Rivers of Life. There, we just went in there and played. That's part of the reason why the tunes are so simple, because I knew we would not have time to rehearse. We just all met at the studio. I think it was a 4-hour session. We played for 4 hours and took what we had to create the CD. James says, it's been a while since I have been able to join you on Q&A due to work, but wanted to thank you for your dedication to these sessions. They have been very, I'm assuming you mean helpful at the end. So yes, there's your other helpful in my comeback journey. Well, you're welcome. You know, I am often criticized for giving too much away for free, but I will never see it that way. You know, I actually, this brings me joy to be able to help people like this. It really does. Cardo says, E over super C, that's insane. Oh, I missed one. Johnny says, improvisation is the idea to work on in jazz. Classic music is okay, but it is written music. It can be my own music. What do you say to that? You know, that's what I was saying earlier. If you're not part of academia, you can do whatever you want with the classical music. There is a album, and I don't have it. I had it on LP. I think it's no. You know what it is? It's the Bach. So there's this guy Paul Winter, I think is his name, and he's got this Grand Canyon album, and it's got the old Bach piece. Right, he's got that on there, but he's playing it like a samba. He's playing it like a samba with guitars and stuff like that. He's doing Bach the way he wants to do Bach. He also does the air on the G string, I think. You know, he's doing that with yeah, so people put him in the new age category because he does stuff with whales and stuff like that, whale recordings. I don't think he's new age. I think they just couldn't find another place to put him. He's one of those guys that is outside the box. But he takes these classical pieces and does them his way, and now it becomes something. I can't distinguish that from his playing. I hope that makes sense. Cardo says, guys, please give a like to Mr. Eddie. I see only 4 thumbs up. That's all right. Well, thank you. All right. Javier says, kudos to you, Eddie. Your teachings are the reason I keep playing this beautiful instrument. If it wasn't for your wisdom and dedication, I wouldn't be playing because of the impractical trumpet god thing. Yeah, we have to run into the trumpet god thing all the time. Johnny says, I met Chet Baker in 1995. Okay. I have a bunch of friends that got to work with him here. Like one of his last albums was here in Houston, and the guys used to give him rides and stuff like that around town. So anyway, yes, thank you, Javier. You know, it really. I know I said it already, but it really is a pleasure for me. I like teaching too. I like doing the lessons. But with the lessons, it's very focused. We have what we have to do, and we're going to get it done. And the Q and A is a little bit more. I guess that's why I like it also, because it's a challenge for me. It, I have to think things through, which is, we do that in the lessons too, but this is kind of different. Cardo says 1995 Chet Baker was not among us anymore. He passed away in 88. Uh-oh. Gabriel says, thanks, Eddie, for your great help. Same thought of Javier for me. Well, thank you, guys. So we're at the hour mark. You're welcome, all you guys. I appreciate you guys. Um, Without you guys with the questions, there'd be no Q and A, right? So, um, yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Um, we will have next week. After all, I told you guys last week that we would not have Q and A, but we moved the fishing trip to Thursday. So I will probably have sunburn like I do today. Um, Now, of course, it could rain next week, so we'll see. Now, before I let you guys go, this thing with the mailing list thing, I don't think that worked out. So let me know what you guys think about having a WhatsApp. How many of you guys have WhatsApp? We could have a WhatsApp group, and I could let people know when these Q and A's are happening through the WhatsApp. If we had a group WhatsApp, I forget what they call it, a chat group or whatever. Um, so Javier says WhatsApp would be cool. If you guys can do WhatsApp, then let me know over the next week, and maybe I'll set up a WhatsApp Q and A group, so that when we do have a uh, Q and A session, I can let you know through that. It would also be nice for you guys to have conversations too during the week. Okay, so Karen and yeah, so there's three of you already saying WhatsApp is good. So I have WhatsApp because that's how we keep touch with our family in Ireland and South Africa. So and that's how I keep track with Leonard as well. So yeah, I'll add you guys. I'll set it up this week, and then I'll tell you what the number is. I guess I've never set up a group before. I'll have to look up how that works, and we'll go from there. We'll set up a group and make that work. Okay. All right, Cardo too. Well, let me fix that up this week, and we'll do that next week. Okay. All right. Well, very good. God bless you guys. As always, we will see you next week unless I end up getting a gig. Okay. All right. Have a great weekend.